nice to
Hi.
see you again.
It's so
How's
nice to see
everything?
you.
Take a seat. It's really great that you called me and that you wanted to come in today. I'm really glad that you're so involved with Billy's schoolwork. He really is a great student. He always wants to be involved in the class. He does great with group work, and he always wants to help others. He really is a wonderful student.
I'm so glad to hear that. I came today because I actually have a few questions about the English Language Arts Standardized Test.
Okay.
I was hoping you could clear some things up for me.
Sure, no problem. What questions do you have?
So my child's performance level is based on his scale score. What is a scale score, and is my child's actual score on the test?
Okay, well, your child's scale score for each year is an estimate of their achievement based on one test. So the scale score isn't the same as the actual test score. It relates more to their performance level, which right now for Billy is a 3.
Okay.
The scale score and the performance level are the best indicators of the child's performance on the test, so therefore the official score is the scale score.
Okay. What does this performance level mean?
Well, there are 4 levels that a student can range from due to their performance on the test.
Okay.
So 4 would be the best and 1 would be the worst. Level 4 means that the student's performance demonstrates a thorough understanding of the English language knowledge skills expected at this grade level. And level 3, which is what Billy is, it means that his performance demonstrates an understanding of the ELA knowledge and skills expected at this grade level. So level 2 would mean that the student's performance demonstrates a partial understanding, and level 1 would mean that the student's performance does not demonstrate an understanding.
Okay. I understand. Thank you.
So, did Billy warn you about this test?
Yeah, he actually told me about it a month before. I tried to help him study as much as I could.
Okay. And what ways did you notice that he studied?
He definitely used index cards for different language art terms, and we constantly went over practice test booklets.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So, what other questions did you have?
I see that the test measured my child's ability in several areas called strands.
Right.
Can you explain those strands, and can you give me an example of the kinds of questions my child answered for each of them?
Sure. Okay, so there were 3 strands that your child's ability was tested on, and those 3 strands were language for information and understanding, literary response and expression, and critical analysis and evaluation. So 24 of these questions were multiple choice and 7 were extended response.
Okay.
So here I could show you an example of the multiple choice questions. What they had to do was read this passage and then afterward answer these 5 multiple choice questions.
Okay.
And as you can see, for words that the child might have trouble understanding, it shows their definitions to the side of the page.
The report mentions an SPI. Is that the same thing as my child's scale score?
Well, the SPI stands for the Standard Performance Index. It estimates the number of questions your child would answer correctly if there were 100 items per standard. So the SPI is used to figure out how big of an error is in a section.
Okay. So now, does that mean that the SPI of 99 means 99% correct on the test?
No, 99 isn't the raw score. This is the scale score transformed from their raw score, which means it's just an estimate. Every test has error, and what I mean by error is the way that the child answers certain questions they might not understand, the way that the question was written, and it might be too difficult for them to answer, or maybe we might have not taught the subject.
What is an SPI target range, and how does it relate to my child's SPI?
The SPI target range is the quantification of error on the test. So the target range is just an estimate. Your child's performance on each standard is compared with the SPI target range. So a student scoring within the target range demonstrates the expected understanding of the standard. The target ranges vary across standards because some standards may contain more difficult items than others.
Okay.
So for example, the SPI target range on Billy's test for the area of critical analysis and evaluation is a 62 to an 82. So there are 20 points of error, which means it could be 20 more than 62 or 20 less than 62.
Oh, okay.
So his test score is in the target range, and it could be either a 63 or a 23.
Wow. Okay. So I have Billy's report from last year. When I look at the 2 most recent reports, I see that his performance in some strands has dramatically changed. Are these real changes?
Well, for the year of 2009, the minimum score for meeting the standards was a 650 out of 775 points. So for 2010, the State of Education Department has raised the bar for the basic and proficient performance levels. So the minimum score for meeting the standards is now 666 out of 795. I really am so sorry that this had to happen. I don't understand why it happened. I don't agree with it, but I guess it's just something that the department had to do. I do completely understand your family's concern with Billy's score now being a low 3 instead of a high 3, but what this means is that we just need to work on some strategies that maybe Billy can use in the future tests. So some strategies I think that will work with Billy next time is maybe practicing with him at home. You can maybe read him some different stories with strong characters, and then every few pages you can ask him for feedback and see what he thinks about the characters' choices and what he would do in their situation. Or if anything, you could even get some online games. I think that they sell them at bookstores and they sell them online. If you want, I could even give you a list. I can email you a list.
That'd be good. Yeah.
So this can basically just prepare him for future English language arts tests.
Definitely.
So are you willing to use those strategies?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to just write down my email and I'll give that to you.
Okay. Now, I was wondering, doesn't the way the test is constructed impact how my child performs? And what was last year's test like? And how might it have shaped my child's score?
Okay, well, yes, the way that the test is constructed does impact the way that your child performs because, like I said, every test has error. No test is perfect, and not every question is an accurate way to test your child's skills. Last year's test didn't have standards as high as this year's, which is why your child scored better the year before. But us as teachers and you as a parent we should all work as a team to basically just prepare our children better for the future.
Okay. So, what can you tell me about Billy's performance relative to the performance of his peers?
Okay, well, Billy and his peers all performed well on the multiple choice questions. All students got at least 20 multiple choice questions right out of the 24 questions. On the extended response questions, Billy only achieved 3 points out of 7 on all the questions. Each child got at least 3 points, which means it was the lowest amount of points gotten wrong. So students did achieve 5 points in this area. So this is definitely something that Billy needs to work on in the future. But like I said, those strategies can definitely help him.
Okay, I hope so. So what areas of the test did my child do well on, and what does Billy need to work on?
Okay, well, Billy got 23 out of 24 right for his multiple choice, so he's very good in that area. For extended response, he got 3 out of 7. So his strongest area was language for information and understanding, which only had 10 points of error, and his language for literary response and expression was also a strength, with only 13 points of error. So the area he was weak in was language for critical analysis and evaluation. So for this section, the students were instructed to listen, speak, read, and write. They had to analyze experiences, ideas, information, and issues by using a variety of established criteria. So as speakers and writers, they had to use their judgment, perspective, and opinion on different issues and information.
Okay. So can I trust this information about my child?
Well, I think so. I think that this information is all trustworthy and useful for your child because it has tested him on everything that he should know and be able to do at his grade level in the area of English language arts. The state does take into consideration the amount of error on each test, that the child might not have learned certain topics, and some questions might be difficultly asked, which is the reason for the SPI target range, of course. So I think Billy's performance on the test was accurate on how he truly does in English language arts, and I really don't think you have anything to worry about, but we will work as a team to make things better in the future and to work on his score.
Thank you. Thank you so much for meeting me today, Miss Muscatello. You definitely cleared things up for me.
Okay, no problem. I hope to see you again soon. Definitely take my email.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.